Hi there, it's Denise Eckert from the Relaxation Lounge. And as you know, I love coming on here and sharing tips, practices, and techniques to lower the stress in your life. And today I've got Christina Woods, and she's the CEO and founder of Wise Woods Hypnotherapy and Coaching. She's a Rapid Transformational Therapist, certified hypnotherapist, and a Reiki Master, and works with women all over the world. So welcome, Christina.
Hi, thanks for having me, Denise.
So today we're going to talk about learn to dialogue with your mind and change your life. Okay, Christina, I'd like to know how you came onto this journey of helping people through hypnotherapy and RTT and all the fun things that you do.
Yeah. So I actually had, prior to hypnotherapy and Reiki and this current great career that I do, I had a 30-year corporate career doing something completely different in the education space. So I kind of had an awakening as I was approaching about 50 years old, where I just sort of realized this wasn't what I wanted to do forever in the corporate world. I had sort of lived this life of doing what everybody expected of me. I was very good at it, very successful. I had made the decision to get a divorce after 23 years and just was making a lot of really tough, big decisions in my life, and realized, well, it's now or never. This is better time than any to make a big change in my life, and started doing some inner work and going on retreats and digging deep into self-help and therapy, and really wanted to find a way to help women get to kind of the root, the way I did it, which was maybe not the easiest way, but get to the root of what's going on so that we can make these big changes. So that's how I fell upon hypnotherapy. I had it help me personally, and then it sort of just evolved from there.
I love hypnotherapy. I started doing it, and I'm actually a certified hypnotherapist as well. And I think it's just so powerful.
It is. It is. I stumbled upon it when I was ill. Actually, I listened to an audio, and it helped me so much. And I was looking for different modalities, and I realized, okay, that's it. That I've got to learn that. So probably similar to you, it's so powerful, and you realize, wow, it makes such a big difference for people. You want to make sure more people know about it.
Absolutely. And the funny thing is, it's got such a stigma of, I remember, I think it was Fred Flintstone, and he was like a chicken or things like that, it's the opposite. It's not even the opposite. It's just not that.
Oh, I know. When I first, you can imagine having this long career as this vice president and in education, to saying, okay, now I'm going to do hypnotherapy and Reiki. I had some family members go, what? But my son was like, oh my gosh, Mom, are you going to be like the guy at the fair that makes people, act like a chicken? So yeah, they had that stigma. And, it's just, as you know, such a natural state to be in. And what I love about it is its simplicity. Once you just break it down, is its simplicity to help people really quiet the chatter in our mind and just get to the root of what's really going on.
Now, today's topic is learn to dialogue with your mind and change your life. Now, what do you mean by dialogue your mind?
Well, we tend to have conversations with ourselves and use words and create these images in our heads that are not always that positive. So one of the things we know in hypnotherapy is that our mind responds to the words and pictures that we give it. And it doesn't necessarily care, our mind, if what we tell it is right or wrong or good or bad, or even true or false. It sort of takes the words that we give it and the pictures and images that we give it and sort of just runs with it and says, all right, here we go. That's the directive that you want. And so the dialogue that we have with our mind is so, so powerful. I think when people realize, the words that we use and we say to ourselves and the commands we give our mind really do influence how our body feels, and and then some. So, I know when I wake up some days, you just feel kind of like you're dragging. You could sort of go with it and go, oh, I'm dragging. I don't want to get off the couch. I just want to sit here and watch Netflix. Yeah, that is how I feel sometimes. But I say, you know what? I have so much energy. I'm energetic. I'm feeling good. I want to, I'm breathing in the fresh air. I'm excited about what I'm doing. You can't help but get that little kick in your step and feel excited about what you're doing. So the words we say, I think a good analogy is that it creates a blueprint for our mind to follow. So what blueprint do you want your mind to follow?
Absolutely. And we all do it, as you said. It's learning to switch things up, because I've worked with women and all I hear from them is, oh, I'm so stressed. Oh, I'm so stressed. Well, saying that to yourself on a constant level or continuous level,
Yeah,
you're stressing yourself out saying it.
sure. Or it's just so hard to do that. That is so hard. There's someone close to me that will often say, it's just so hard to make that change, to do that differently. It's so hard. Although they're talking about a thing that they're doing that is so hard. So it's this, it's like, well, you can keep telling yourself it's really hard, or, you can actually just tell yourself it's easy, and your mind will go, okay, it's easy. It doesn't, it's not instant, but it's certainly, the words we tell ourselves really do influence. And the other thing I like to tell people and remind themselves is that the relationship that you have with yourself is the longest relationship you'll ever be in. So what are the words you want to hear? If you had the love of your life in front of you, what are the words you'd always want to hear from the love of your life? I love being around you. You're beautiful. I love talking to you. You're so interesting. You're so fun to be around. You're intelligent. How come we don't say those words to ourselves? I mean, this is it. This is the longest one we're going to be in. So that's what I mean by the dialogue that we have with ourselves is, nurture the relationship, the longest one you're going to be in.
Now, for our listeners, how would you start nurturing that relationship with yourself or changing that dialogue that you shouldn't be doing with yourself?
Yeah, I think doing a little exploring and getting curious about why you don't have a positive dialogue with yourself. I think it's, there's always a program or something that is in there, installed in there as to why maybe in the first place it's there. So whether that's through hypnotherapy or some other modality, but just asking yourself, getting curious, because we're not born stressed. We're not born with anxiety. We're not born with this angst in the pit of our stomach of worry and procrastination or eating too much. I mean, if you've ever tried to feed a baby, when they're done, they just push the spoon away. They're done. An adult, on the other hand, looks at their kid's food and goes, "Oh, you're done with that? I'll eat the rest of that." Or we don't care if we're full. We're just emotionally, we're still eating. So we learn some of these things, and as we know, our subconscious mind has these programs. So getting curious about what are some of the programs that are there, because those programs are lies and they're not true. So if you can find out what those are, you can really free yourself. But, simple things are talking to yourself differently, putting little notes on the mirror. I have alarms on my phone at 8 a.m., 12 o'clock, and in the evening, depending on what's going on in my life, that says I'm a heartfelt leader, or I'm, whatever I need to motivate myself with. And, affirmations are interesting. They only go so far in. They're just fluffy words unless we really kind of allow them in. So it is important to get to the root of maybe why we're blocking them too.
Absolutely. And a lot of them too, it's what we've grown up with and what we've been told, and it stays with us as adults. I'm probably a little older than you, and it's amazing when you start looking back, where did these thoughts come from?
Oh,
and
wow.
I've been looking at money blocks, for instance, and wow, it's just so powerful to see where they came from. And at the beginning, I had my walls up, and now that I've let my walls down, I'm like, wow, like it's incredible.
It is so strong. Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, I mean, I've the money one is a big one. Self-esteem is a big one. What did you grow up? What's those archetypes that are helping you cope through life? And, like I said, I had this corporate career. Well, I had the corporate career because I thought I needed to be perfect. And I thought if I was perfect, everything would be calm and I wouldn't have any stress. Well, I had more stress then you can imagine I created so much stress trying to be perfect. Um, and that was a coping skill, trying to be perfect, that helped me when I was a kid calm down kind of a volatile childhood and situation. But I grew out of it. And I think listening sometimes when we get uncomfortable or stress builds up, I think just slowing down and asking ourselves, okay, this isn't a natural state to be in. What is really going on? And if we just allow ourselves to get quiet, I know when I was going through my divorce and changing careers, I really had to ask myself, okay, what's going on inside, Christina? And it's not easy. It's not comfortable. But when I started digging, I could dig out some of that stuff. And all right, okay, now I can look at those programs, and those programs are not, I don't need to be perfect. That was just a coping mechanism to be safe. And now that I can release that, I have released so much stress. And, I'm free to just be me and make a bunch of mistakes like everybody else.
Absolutely. And it's funny too, because I know for myself, the perfectionism is also the fear of starting. So I will have every excuse not to start, or I need to be perfect. And it's just every excuse that I can come up with not launching something or not doing something.
Oh yeah.
It's so powerful, and you don't realize it until you create that awareness.
Oh yeah. Yeah. That comes out in my procrastination, everything. It's still there, but now I'm aware. And when I notice myself procrastinating or trying to get something perfect, I'm aware and say, okay, I see you. And I just, give it a lot of love. Okay. You thought you had to be perfect. You thought, but that was then, and this is now. And you know what? You're perfectly imperfect, and you don't need to be perfect. And so, and I am telling myself every single day I wake up, I put my hand on my heart, I look in the mirror and I say, all is well. Everything that you need to know will come to you. I do have a pretty strong spiritual practice in the morning to make myself grounded, to, sort of buffer the normal stress that can come through life. And it does keep me grounded and remind myself that I'm enough.
Wonderful. I love that you do a little morning practice. Can you just share that with us? What do you do?
Yeah. Yeah. So I try before I even get out of bed, to put my hand on my heart and either say things that I'm grateful for, or just kind of check in and ask myself, how do I feel today? Because sometimes you wake up and you're already in anxiety mode. Like, I got to do this, I got to do that, I got to check my phone. And so it just kind of, all right, slow down there. You're already feeling like you have to do. And when I get into that mode, I already know I'm already going to just start cranking up the stress. So it's like, calm down. What can I do to put myself in check? And I just know that I need to be more grounded. I need to be more centered, because when emotions are high, solutions are low. I know that. I'm not going to solve anything when I'm up there. So if I can bring myself down. The other thing I do is I meditate every morning. Sometimes it's 5 minutes, sometimes it's a half an hour, but I do meditate every morning. And I also chant every morning, which might be too woo-woo for some people, but for me, it's very active. It gets my voice going, and it actually stimulates my vagus nerve, which is your parasympathetic nervous system, which I have had a lot of trauma in my childhood. So a lot of things are stored there for me, and it really calms me down and helps me feel empowered. And I journal a lot. So for me, I journal most of my problems, my stress. I solve a lot of things when I journal. So that's the way I get a lot of things out, excuse me, and express myself. And I sometimes usually don't read it again, but I probably have 3 or 4 journals going on throughout the house. And they help me express and get stress out. And sometimes I'll read them again, but usually it's like, what do you need today? Or maybe a problem with someone or something I need to just vent. And I'll ask myself, what is this really about?
Yeah. I don't know. Lately, it's been very different for me, because I don't know, my dreams are always fun. I'm one of the people who has all these fun dreams. I'm always either at a beach resort or on some boat. I'm always having fun at some party or friends.
Nice.
But for some reason, when I wake up in the morning, I have just my head is full of ideas. So lately I've just been honoring that, getting up and writing
Great.
down my ideas. And I'm not a journaler,
Okay.
but just dumping all those ideas out. And you know what? I allow myself in the mornings, if I want to do some content writing or if I want to write, I allow myself that space to get it out before
Perfect.
I look at my emails, before I look at everything. Just being that creative person at whatever time in the morning is, it's just being able to listen to yourself.
Yes. Yeah. And that's a good point. I have noticed lately that, creative ideas, when they come, I do honor when they come and kind of get excited about it and just say, all right, an idea about maybe a package I want to offer or a class I want to teach or something. And just a lot of times it's when I'm on a walk or when my mind is quiet, right? Imagine that. So, and just having fun with that and being playful with that, but allowing it to come in and flow and then jot some stuff down, because when you sit down to force it and think it's going to come from the mind, it's not going to happen.
No, it
Nothing
doesn't.
good anyway. Yeah.
So now, how are other ways your subconscious mind affects your everyday life?
Well, your subconscious mind is running the show. So this in hypnotherapy. So 95% of how we feel and think and what we believe about ourselves and the world and our place in it is in the subconscious mind. So when we try to logic ourselves or our place or opinions or beliefs out of things, it's not going to work. A lot of times people will come to me and say, I'm a very logical person, or this doesn't make any sense. Why isn't this changing? I know I shouldn't eat this or do this. This is frustrating. We can't logic ourselves out of it. So our subconscious mind can really influences almost everything in our life. It's the hard drive, it's the operating system. So if you want to change your mindset around money, if you want to change your mindset about your health and your body, and that's why diets don't work, because they're not tapping into your subconscious. I mean, the diets that do work really do look at what's the why behind why are your behaviors that way. I mean, if diets worked, we just follow one, we'd all eat that way or exercise that way. And instead, there's, a million of them out there. And we fall off the wagon because we go back into what is that subconscious belief about ourselves. That's what takes over. So, knowing, what's in your subconscious and what are those beliefs and what are even some of those lies that we're telling ourselves, unpacking those. I think when it comes to stress and your subconscious mind, telling and reminding yourself a couple things about your subconscious is whenever we know that something has an end, we're a lot more likely to be able to handle it. I think when we get overwhelmed is when we think something's never going to end. Like, even pain, childbirth, or, when we know something's going to end, a drill in a tooth, something like that, we're able to endure things. But even if it's a project at work or, we're working really long hours or we're enduring some kind of stress at home, a difficult time, we keep reminding ourselves, look, this is a difficult time. I am working long hours right now, but it's not going to be forever. This is going to be over in a couple months. This is, this too shall pass, but really understanding that, because we can really endure quite a lot. We're really resilient. It's when our mind gets tricked to thinking it's going to be like this forever that overwhelm really sets in.
Yeah. And what I find too, which is helpful, is chunking things down and putting things in bite-sized pieces. So you are having that end because you got that bite-sized piece, you finished it, it's done. Go to the next one, go to the next one, rather than just trying to put everything on your plate at once. And I know I do it for myself too, because once you start doing that to-do list, it's like you're overwhelmed, but figure out what you want to do today.
Yeah.
Don't worry about what's going to happen tomorrow. What do you want to accomplish today?
Yeah. And in our subconscious often are blocks about creating boundaries and setting limits. So oftentimes we want to people please and people pleasing is about avoiding rejection. Nobody wants to get rejected. We all want connection. That's why we're here on the planet, is to feel connection. And so our subconscious mind can sometimes play games on us, like, okay, if you keep people pleasing and pushing yourself and over promising and over delivering, that you'll be accepted and that you'll make connection. And that just is really another lie in our subconscious that is important to get to the root of, because overwhelm and stress often does just because we're overextending ourselves, and we've forgotten how to set boundaries, or what boundaries really are is really just loving ourselves and understanding, putting ourselves first, and knowing that, we teach people how to treat us, right?
Well, yes, boundaries are about protecting ourselves.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite sayings is that, creating boundaries is saying no to the things that are not important to you, to create that time and energy for the things that are important to you.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Yeah. And, I think so often too, we are afraid to be honest with people, and we take on too much. So, even a boss, sometimes they give us 2-3 jobs to do something, and the time frame that isn't realistic, because we're afraid we're going to get fired, or we're afraid this. But and so then we're working 18 hours a day, and our work, the quality of our work and our quality of our life is jeopardized and sacrificed, and nothing really ends up being good. But having an honest conversation, saying, look, I'm so honored you gave me all this work. And I know I can do a good job, but the truth is you've given me too much to do in this period of time. And can we talk about what's a more reasonable time frame? So, having honest conversations with people, or, to your partner at home, let's share the work duties around the house, or I need more me time, feeling that it's okay to do those things.
Absolutely. Now, how can hypnosis lead to empowerment and less stress in one's life?
Well, reprogramming some of these programs that are making us believe and do some of these things that are creating stress and anxiety in our lives. These that have made us believe these lies, and these programs that aren't true, that were there originally to protect us and keep us safe and whatever else. But through hypnotherapy, you can rewire and recode in new beliefs and new thoughts. And once you find out what the root of the behavior was, we can then, create an audio recording that rewires and recodes in a new belief and a new thought, one that is true, one that is going to enhance your life and get you that feeling and those actions and whatever it is that you want in your life. And you listen to it every day, but through neuroplasticity and retraining your mind, that's what's so incredible about it, is we have neuroplasticity. We can literally retrain our minds to believe and accept and latch on to a new thought. Our mind wants to go towards what's familiar. So until we make a new thought familiar, it's going to keep going back to the old one. The old one might not be a good one. So we need to make a new thought familiar, a good one.
Great. Now, what are some of the other tools you found to be beneficial to reduce the stress for busy women?
Well, I think, this concept of self-love is just underrated. I mean, is one that a lot of women have a hard time doing. So really taking time out for yourself. So whatever that looks like, if that's moving their body, making quiet time for themselves, and doing it guilt-free. So I work with a lot of women, because if we're doing it and we're just burdened with guilt, that's stressful. So that's not alleviating any stress. But honoring yourself and knowing that you're worthy and that you're good enough to take a walk by yourself. And that's hard for a new mom or someone that's got a lot of responsibilities. But to really carve out whatever that is, 20 minutes to take a bath by yourself and quiet your mind and recharge your battery. I mean, we recharge our phones, we recharge everything. And why wouldn't we recharge ourselves? So, hypnotherapy can rewire and recode in a belief that you are worth it to do that. But these new habits take practice. And so it feels uncomfortable at first. It might even feel selfish to do these things at first, but it's never ever selfish to carve out time for yourself and recharge your battery. And I'm always reminding women, especially mothers, that think of what those lessons are that you're showing your children and teaching your children to honor themselves and carve out a little time in life for themselves. I mean, I wish I would have showed my kids that a little bit more as they were growing up. I'm doing it now, but I didn't do such a good job at that as they were growing up.
Well, we lived in an era that it was, I was in corporate, just like yourself, where you just were this busy, busy, busy robot. And even though you were busy, 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 there was extra always put on your plate. And that's how we lived. I mean, it was creating that super mom, super woman.
Yep.
Which is not sustainable.
It's not sustainable. And you're right. It was how you valued yourself. If I work more, if I get another promotion or another raise, I'm more valued, I'm more important. And so I had to do a lot of hypnotherapy and other therapy to deprogram that's not my value. That's not my worth. And, also the money mindset, which was, you make money only if you work really hard and you're kind of tortured. That was my mindset. Work has to be really yucky and hard. And so I've had to reprogram that. And that's been a shift. And many people still struggle with that.
Yes, that's a heavy one, because that's how I grew up as well. So Christina, we're going to slowly finish up here.
Yeah.
Are there any words of wisdom you'd like to add for the audience today?
Yeah, I like to always remind people that, that we always look outside for answers. I think our culture, our society is always feeding us things and making us think, if I buy this or do this, the answers are out there, but the answers are inside. And just start looking within, getting quiet. Whatever, hypnotherapy, whatever that you do, you have the answers. You have the ability to heal yourself. You really, truly do. And you have the ability to change so much just within yourself. You are this magical, energetic being. So that's what I want to leave with your listeners.
I love that. And I understand that you've got a freebie that's available.
Yeah. So I have a couple of freebies. One is it's called a praise muscle worksheet. So all about praising yourself and making that a practice. And your listeners can get that by going to free.wisewoods.com. So free.wisewoods.com. They can download the free praise muscle worksheet. And I also offer an opportunity to have a free 1-hour consultation with me. It's called a Freedom to Self-Belief call. And you can take 10 minutes of that hour or the full hour with me, whatever you want, to talk about any beliefs you feel might be holding you back and kind of strategize ways in which you can overcome those things. So that is available by going to book.wisewoods.com, and my calendar will pull up for everyone.
Wonderful. Well, all her information will be wherever you're listening or watching this podcast or interview. So thank you so much, Christina. Wonderful information. I love that. We need to reprogram our brains to take care of ourselves.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Denise.
Great. Well, thank you for listening. If you're looking for more ways to reduce the stress in your life, please visit www.therelaxationlounge.info. Here I've got access to a free Facebook page where you can get support, information on the podcast where I interview different individuals who share their techniques to help you reduce your stress, plus a membership that you can join where you can come and do stress-reducing practice on demand anytime you need to reduce the stress in your life and create more happiness in your world. I'll see you in the lounge.